Science fans, today let's dive into the fascinating world of water and explore a crucial element for aquatic life: dissolved oxygen, or DO for short. Just like us, fish and other underwater creatures need oxygen to breathe and survive. But instead of lungs, they have gills that extract oxygen directly from the water. Imagine trying to breathe in a stuffy room with very little air circulation. That's what it's like for fish in water with low DO levels. They become stressed, sluggish, and may even suffocate if the oxygen levels drop too low. That's why maintaining healthy DO levels is essential for thriving aquatic ecosystems. Without enough DO, our rivers, lakes, and oceans would become barren wastelands, unable to support the incredible diversity of life we see today. Section 2. Sources and consumption of dissolved oxygen. So where does this vital dissolved oxygen come from? Well, there are two primary sources: the atmosphere and photosynthesis. Think of the water's surface as a thin membrane. Oxygen from the air can pass through this membrane and dissolve into the water below. This process is called diffusion. The second source is like magic. Aquatic plants and algae act like tiny underwater factories, using sunlight to convert carbon dioxide and water into energy, a process called photosynthesis. And guess what one of the byproducts is? That's right, oxygen. They release this oxygen directly into the water, replenishing the supply for our fishy friends. But it's not all about gaining oxygen. There's also consumption. Just like on land, organisms in the water use up oxygen for respiration, the process of converting food into energy. Decomposition, the breakdown of organic matter like dead plants and animals, also consumes DO. It's a delicate balance between oxygen sources and sinks that determines the overall DO levels in a water body. Section 3. Factors affecting dissolved oxygen levels. Now, let's talk about some factors that can influence DO levels, kind of like adjusting the volume knob on our underwater oxygen supply. First up, temperature. You know how a cold soda stays fizzier longer? Well, cold water can hold more dissolved oxygen than warm water. As water warms up, the oxygen molecules get more energy and are more likely to escape back into the atmosphere. Next, we have salinity, or the saltiness of the water. The saltier the water, the less dissolved oxygen it can hold. Think of it like trying to fit more things into an already crowded room. Water movement is another key factor. Flowing water, like in rivers and streams, tends to have higher DO levels because the constant motion helps mix oxygen from the air into the water. It's like giving the water a good shake to dissolve more oxygen. Finally, we have altitude. Just like we get out of breath easier at higher elevations, water at higher altitudes holds less dissolved oxygen due to lower atmospheric pressure. It's like the air itself is thinner, so there's less oxygen available to dissolve in the water. Section 4. Biochemical oxygen demand, or BOD, and its impact. Now let's talk about a term you might hear when discussing water quality: biochemical oxygen demand, or BOD. Don't let the long name scare you, it's a simple concept. BOD measures how much oxygen microorganisms need to break down organic matter in the water. Think of it like this. When leaves fall into a stream, bacteria and other microbes get to work decomposing them. This decomposition process requires oxygen, just like we need oxygen to breathe. The more organic matter there is in the water, the more oxygen these microbes need, leading to a higher BOD. High BOD can be a problem because it means there's less dissolved oxygen available for fish and other aquatic life. It's like having a bunch of hungry guests at a party who eat up all the snacks before anyone else gets a chance. Section 5. Measuring DO and BOD and why it matters. Measuring DO and BOD is crucial for understanding the health of our waterways. It's like taking the pulse of a river or lake. Scientists and water quality experts use various methods to measure these parameters. One common method is using electronic probes that can directly measure the amount of dissolved oxygen in the water. Another method involves collecting water samples and analyzing them in a lab. By monitoring DO and BOD levels, we can identify potential problems such as pollution from sewage or industrial discharge and take steps to mitigate their impact. Protecting our water resources is everyone's responsibility. By understanding the importance of dissolved oxygen, biochemical oxygen demand, and the factors that influence them, we can all make informed choices to keep our waterways clean and healthy for generations to come. Remember, every drop counts.